you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. We are back to talking about Bobbie.
Finally.
Bobbie. So today we are picking up with just 1998. And unlike Lucky, there were bigger gaps in her years. So we'll get back in the groove of her. So this one's going to be a little bit shorter just because, we've taken a year off.
This would be episode 9 of Bobbie.
Oh, thank you. I was not even considering looking at that either. So episode 9 of Bobbie.
I was shocked that we had done that much. Like, I was like, oh, really? I felt like we had only done 1 or 2. So.
Oh, no. I knew that we had at least done 5 because we made it through the 70s and 80s. Like, I knew that.
Yes.
Have we already done Stefan? Yes.
Yes. So she's ending.
Yeah. So we definitely knew that. I knew that we were into the 90s then because we had talked about Stefan.
Right.
Okay.
So I went back and watched. Like, I used Soap Central, their daily recaps, read through all of that and took the information that they gave, tried to word it a little bit better than just a little blips. And then I went back through and watched. When Stefan asked her to marry him, he 100% admitted it was out of convenience, not out of true love. And
really?
Then, yes, he told her.
Why do I remember them being romantic?
I think when he first started pursuing her, he was being romantic. But when he actually proposed, he said to her, I would think that after all the heartache that you've gone through, you would be over love. And sometimes just the stability of someone being there is more important than love. And then told her that she was talked about, well, you obviously have your own house. I'll keep the brownstone from the rental property income. That will be what I live off of. Like, I'm not trying to marry you for money. And he was like, well, you can do whatever you want, but I figured I'd open an account for you, put $6 million in it for you. And then you can live off of that. And if you need more, you can let me know. But I want you to be comfortable, and being my wife has a lot of different, opportunities that are going to come with it. If you want to keep working, if you don't, if you want to chair different boards. And she was like, I don't need $6 million. And he was like, well, I don't either. It's perfectly fine. And I was like, okay. So for a minute, I liked him a little bit better because I had not remembered that he was quite that honest with her either. And then there's not a ton of him in this course of the year because they were already over, but she did have conversations with him here or there. And he was right back to the jerk that we remember. So that little bit of grace isn't getting him much because he's a jerk.
And this is just like how we were talking with Melanie when we were talking about Blackie. And she's like, rewatching this makes me realize some of the decisions I made in my own romantic life. Because even still, I know that Stefan had his issues, but in my mind, he's still the romantic, misunderstood Stefan.
Yeah. Maybe
No.
with other people, not with Bobbie. And I'll try not to interrupt too much, but as you're reading it, of course, I'll have to interject here or there what I watched because I did get caught in the rabbit hole. And then there was stuff with Liz because this is the year that Liz's rape happened. And so I was like, stop watching Lucky and Liz and get back to what you're supposed to be doing.
We just did that. We can reference, guys, remember, we did 52 weeks of Lucky, 42 Lucky and Liz. And that is why we are way off track and out of practice with Bobbie. So if you're listening to this in the future, well beyond October of 2025, oh, sorry, this is actually going to be November. We just happen to be recording in October of 2025. If you're listening to this in sequential order, just to get the story of Bobbie, between this episode and the previous, we took over a year break because Lucky came back and we spent a year on Lucky. So if there's...
Yes. We will not spend a year on Bobbie, but this year was pretty monumental, even though the bulk of it happened in the beginning of the year. So I'll let you start us out because this is the stuff that you remember. And then, because it's ingrained in your brain for all of that Carly drama. And then if anything important I missed, I'll just toss it in there.
Okay. So you said that you started this with, like, this is a quick recap because,
so that
well, and
first
that's the thing too.
that's
The vibe of this whole thing is probably way different than,
right.
So guys, I'm so sorry for the lack of continuity with Bobbie.
So where we left off would have been Tony just finding out that Michael is not his and dealing with the, fallout from ruining his marriage for a relationship that wasn't working out. And Michael they gave him a medicine to see if it would correct the heart problem. And so that first paragraph is what was our last paragraph of where we left off.
Okay. And that's right, guys. It was not always just, is it Sonny or is it AJ? The very first baby daddy was thought to be Tony.
Yep.
Oh, why'd we have to kill Tony?
I don't know. He was a complicated character too as you were watching this, because one minute I was like, you're such a jerk. And then you would hear him talk about how devastated he had been by the loss of BJ. And it was like, oh, you're just a dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he got vicious.
He did.
He got nasty.
You'll get into it. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. I can't wait. So meanwhile, Tony continued to pursue his custody options regarding Carly's baby, Michael, and became enraged when he learned about the medical complications with Carly and the baby. Later, Bobbie learned that the medication had not helped the baby and that he would need surgery to correct his heart problem. And we are picking right up at the beginning of 98 because Michael was born on New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Jason was concerned about Carly's depression. Oh, that was the other thing, is that people also thought that Jason was the dad.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have to do Michael sometime. Okay. Jason was concerned about Carly's depression and got Bobbie to look in on her. I forget. Did Jason know that Bobbie was Carly's mom? Luke knew, but
I don't know if Jason knew yet at this time.
Okay.
You know what? It actually doesn't tell us exactly when he found out, unless that was before and I'm forgetting it from what we already recorded. Because like nowhere in here is he shocked to find that out, but he doesn't say anything.
Because we've already gone through where Luke confronted her and starts calling her Caroline, because he had already gone down and met Virginia. Mm-hmm. And because he was looking for Bobbie's daughter, because why? Why did he go looking for Bobbie's daughter?
I don't know.
He intentionally went to find her, or was it just because she was so heartbroken? Lulu. Okay, yep.
Lulu. He went to look for her because of Lulu. Jason did know before Bobbie knew, but I don't know exactly when he found out, because in this, Bobbie will yell at him about that.
Okay. Yay. Okay. Sorry for all the questions. I'm just trying to get us.
Oh, yeah.
I really should have re-listened to the previous episode, but I did not. So while Bobbie was inside talking to Carly, AJ confronted Jason and told him it was just between the two of them. What was between just the two of them?
Who the baby daddy is.
Oh, okay.
Because they had already ruled out.
They had already ruled out Tony.
Yes.
And nobody was believing that she had slept with AJ?
I think that she was just flat out denying it because she didn't even want to go there.
Okay. Inside Carly's hospital room, Bobbie tried to console Carly, telling her she wasn't at fault for the baby's heart problems. She is at fault for the lack of paternal...
They were talking about the heart problem.
Verification. Is that a polite way of saying that? I don't know. Bobbie also told Carly that she and Jason were responsible for the decision to give Carly an alternative to surgery so she could have more children. Carly thanked Bobbie.
Sorry, because the doctor was like, oh, you're having complications. We're just going to do a hysterectomy. Like, that was the end of it. And luckily, Jason had already been given, like, proxy for them. And so he stepped in and was like, no, there has to be something else. So Bobbie was, like, super sweet with Carly, saying, unless you were drinking or doing drugs or something like that, you did not cause this. And you made an extra good choice because you left Jason in charge of your care, and he went ahead and looked for something other than having you do the hysterectomy.
And he did that without the internet.
He did.
Or Spinelli. He didn't have either one. Well, right? 98? No. I mean, we had the internet, but people didn't use it.
No.
The way that...
You were just shopping online at that point.
Yep. Not even that. You were AOL chat rooming.
I never.
He would have run out of hours. Although I have a feeling that the Quartermaines probably could afford, they probably had more than one landline too, to allow all the time access to AOL so that he could go in those medical chat rooms and ask all those questions what would his username have been? Because he wouldn't have been Stone Cold yet.
Nope. There's a good poll to put up. What would Jason's AOL name be?
Spinelli, what would Jason's, well, you know what though? We had Taggart at the time, and that's when he called him Quarterbrain.
Yes.
That I don't think that Jason would have.
No.
And that name really is not very nice now, but it's kind of wrongly nostalgic for us. So anyway, Carly thanked Bobbie, but was curious as to why she would help her. Bobbie told Carly it was because what Carly had told her in the OR. Carly automatically thought she had told Bobbie that she was her daughter. What did Carly tell her in the OR?
She just went on and on about how much she loved Michael and actually cared about him. And it was evident then that she wasn't just using him as a pawn in all of her schemes. She actually had grown to love her baby. Imagine that over 9 months.
Yay! Bobbie heads over to Jason's to warn him and gives a glowing review of Jason as a dad to the social worker. When the social worker reports back to Tony that even his ex believes Jason's a good dad, Tony is livid. He later tells Bobbie, if something bad happens to the baby, it's on her. Who's the two?
Oh, I feel like this had to go back to the social worker. So the social worker shows up and like everybody's there, all of his men, and she's trying to catch him. And who are these people? They must work for you and be bad guys. And Robin's there and Bobbie's there. So I think he was talking to Bobbie and Robin about he couldn't wait till Carly got back.
Gotcha. Okay. So Jason tells the two that he can't wait till Carly gets home. And if something happens, the Quartermaines or Tony will try to take the baby. He wants to stop being a target. Oh, gosh, this hurts.
Mm-hmm.
He's still doing this. This is still something he's fighting almost 30 years later. So he wants to stop being a target. Jason asks Bobbie if she knows a home care nurse and she offers her services. He also wants to give the baby a name and asks her if she thinks Carly will mind. Bobbie suggests they christen the baby, and Mike and her explain what that means. And that's Mike Sonny's dad.
Yep.
Bobbie also mentions godparents, and Jason asks if they are like grandparents. She says no, and he tells her he does not want the Quartermaines near the baby or the christening, and Bobbie sticks up for them. He tells her they tried to steal the baby, and they are not allowed to know about the christening. Bobbie doesn't agree, but Jason explains in detail what happened and how they wouldn't give him back. He lets her know that it was Alan, Edward, and Dr. Jones, who's Tony, who were in on it. Bobbie calls the priest to find out about having the christening. At the christening, Monica is upset that Bobbie is so involved with the christening and the Quartermaines were not even invited.
Okay. I felt bad. This was like reading through this and watching it, I felt bad for these friendships because Bobbie was really pitted against Monica and later against Felicia. And I was like, man, these are your lifelong friends and you're having to go against them. And at this point, Bobbie doesn't even know that she is Michael's grandma. She's just trying to be helpful because Carly wasn't being a jerk suddenly. She saw herself in Carly having Michael young.
Right. And just a heads up for me getting choked up in tears. Monica just passed away on the show.
Yes.
When we were recording this. So that was my first thought is it's hard to remember Monica not having access to Michael. You know? So Monica's upset that Bobbie is so involved with the christening and the Quartermaines weren't invited. Jason announces that the baby will be named Michael after Sonny, and the Quartermaines cause a scene. Carly returns just as the christening is ending. Bobbie continues to check in on Michael. She tries to help Carly connect with the baby, and Carly snaps at her. Bobbie continues to show her kindness. Finally, during a storm, Carly breaks down emotionally and insists that she needs her baby now. Bobbie and Carly are on their way to the grill, the Port Charles grill, when Carly asks Bobbie why she is helping her. Bobbie tells her that 20 years ago, she didn't have a choice as far as her daughter was concerned, but Carly does, so she wants to help her. Carly was only 20 when this was happening?
Young. She was real young. I don't know exactly. I feel like she had to at least been 21 because we saw her drinking in establishments, but she was young.
Why did I definitely think she was like 22, 23? Anyway, it doesn't really... Okay. What she does after that is up to Carly. Carly tells her that she will never forget Bobbie's help. They go within a mile of the grill, and then they run into a snowbank. They stay in the car until it's almost out of gas. Then they decide to walk the rest of the way to the grill. Carly and Bobbie arrive, and she tells Jason that she wants her son. Jason gives Michael to Bobbie, and she in turn gives him to Carly. Carly then looks at Bobbie strangely. Bobbie asks her what is wrong, and Carly tells her that she is her daughter, Caroline. How do they not have more detail about that?
Because you'll get some. Keep going.
Okay. Carly tells Bobbie that it's true. She is Caroline. Bobbie asks Jason to take the baby out of the room, and all eyes are on them. Bobbie wants to know if the walk in the snow to see her baby was all just an act, and she believes that Carly is just trying to use all she told her against her. When she thinks Carly can't sink any lower, she does, and believes that Carly likes to throw the fact that she gave her own daughter away in her face. Carly says she is her daughter, and she wasn't going to tell her, but when she saw how much she loves Michael, she felt she should know it's her grandson. I am not going to be okay reading this. Bobbie believes she is relentless and just keeps destroying their lives. Carly tells Bobbie she's telling the truth and is not crazy. Oh, and yeah, because that would make sense, though, because Carly just came back. Hey, wait, is this where Carly had gone to Ferncliff?
No, she just went, I think she just went away.
Gone away.
They didn't know where she was. But remember that Bobbie had already looked into finding her daughter and had found out that her daughter died.
Right.
So as Carly's saying, I'm your daughter, she's like, no, you're lying. My daughter's passed on.
Okay. She says that she came to Port Charles to find her and see what she looked like. Bobbie claims there was another version. Carly came to town, saw her life and liked it, and then learned about her daughter and decided that she wanted to be her. Carly says she was angry at her for giving her up and wants to apologize. She says that she really needed to hear those things that Bobbie said. Bobbie tells her the little girl she gave up is dead. Carly says she is not the only one who lied to her. AJ jumps in and says to Bobbie to not believe Carly because she's lying. Where did he come from?
So they're in the grill. There's all these people around.
So like everyone's there because it's all snowed in and everyone. And
exactly. Okay. And whenever she says, I'm not the only one that lied to you, that's referencing Luke because Luke is who told Bobbie that the baby had died.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. Okay. Carly tells him to butt out. She tries to walk away, but Carly grabs her hand. This makes Bobbie think of the one and only time her baby held onto her hand. Tony walks in, and Bobbie goes over to him and tells him to listen to Carly's new one. She urges her to tell Tony what she just told her. Carly begs Bobbie not to do this, and so Bobbie turns to Tony and tells him. She asks what would make her think she's wrong. Bobbie wants to know why he believes her, and Tony says it's now coming together, and it answers a lot of questions. He recalls all their times together when she was around and how she wormed her way into their lives, how she pumped him for information on Bobbie and the daughter that she had given away. He says she just wanted to get back at Bobbie by sleeping with her stepdaddy. Ew. Ugh. He now knows what he saw in her, Bobbie.
Double ew.
Yeah. Carly says she has no intentions of forcing herself on her or her son on Bobbie, and if she wants a daughter, even a horrible one, she knows where to find her. As she turns, Carly sees Virginia walk in. So she made it through the snowstorm?
She made it through the snowstorm just fine.
That's always fun and interesting how that happens.
Maybe it let up at that point. I don't know. This argument did go on for a while, 15 minutes. I don't know.
3 days, same thing. Virginia walks over to Bobbie and tells her that she came to Port Charles to see her. It's a surprise because she figured she might object if she told her. She turns around and does a bit of a double take when she sees Carly. When she does realize it's her, she says her name, Caroline, and the two embrace. Bobbie and Tony both realize it's true. Virginia asks Caroline where she knew to find her birth mother. She tells her that it is Barbara Jones, not realizing that she already knows. Virginia makes introductions, and Bobbie calls her a little B word.
Mm-hmm.
Bobbie asks Virginia why she's there. Did Carly send for her? Bobbie wants Carly to explain it all to Virginia. She tells Virginia she has known Carly for 2 years and asks who the real Carly Roberts is. Carly, aka Caroline, says she's dead and she was her best friend. Virginia is all confused and wants someone to tell her what's going on. Bobbie gives her one last chance to explain, or she will. Carly starts to tell Virginia everything that happened from the beginning, how an investigator came to her and told her that her birth mother was looking for her, and then she went to Port Charles to see Bobbie. She thought Bobbie would recognize her immediately just by looking into her eyes, but she didn't. This upset her, especially that her mother was living so well and had even adopted a little boy. Carly really felt her mother never wanted her. She says she tried to make her a friend, and even thought about telling her But then after a while, she figured Bobbie wouldn't even care and she didn't want to tell her. Virginia asks why not, and Tony jumps in, telling her that by then she had decided to steal her mother's husband. I can hear that in my...
Yeah, this is where Tony was like really a jerk because he's just standing behind Bobbie holding his drink, and like every time that he can interject something nasty, he is. And Carly's not wanting, obviously, to explain all the things that she did to her mom because she does still seem to have that little bit of like, I want my mom to think that I'm not a bad person. And he just keeps going in again and again and again. And then Bobbie ends up leaving, which is what this next paragraph goes into.
I mean, to be fair, he's finding out that he was targeted and he thought that he loved Carly. You know, he did love Carly, but he thought that Carly also loved him. But to find out that he was only a pawn to hurt Bobbie.
Yeah, but Carly...
I agree. You shouldn't say... Okay, we have all said nasty things. I have said things that I absolutely should not have said when I was angry.
Absolutely.
1,000%.
But she points out that she didn't have to try very hard to get Tony to start cheating on his wife, that she was just this cute young little thing. And he was like, I'll forget all about my son and my wife. It's fine. And she's not wrong. She didn't really... I mean, I know she was definitely going after him, but he was considerably older than her. He could have said no.
Bobbie goes to see Stefan at Windermere. She asks him if he knew that Carly was her daughter, and he did. I forgot about that, too.
Hey, I told you he was a jerk.
She wants to know why he didn't tell her, and he says it would have hurt her when they were married, and then when they were divorced, it was a weapon he didn't need. She thinks he held it in reserve, and he lets her know her daughter's death was greatly exaggerated by her brother. She says she has no idea what Luke knows, and he lets her know that he had Luke followed to Florida, and he stayed for several hours and then left with a yearbook. She recalls the events of the evening and thinks he is enjoying seeing her upset. He claims that is not true. Before she leaves, she must ask one more question. Did he set her up to find Tony with Carly that night at the cabin? He tells her he uses situations to his advantage, which she takes as a yes to her question. Melanie, I am right there with you I understand my own past choices a little bit more.
Yeah.
So then I'm assuming Bobbie went to see Luke because it says that Bobbie tells Luke she has to leave for work. Luke asks her, go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead. That's what happened.
Okay. Luke asks her what she would have done had he told her the day that he found out. Bobbie doesn't answer, but believes he had a hand in all of this and questions him if she would have went through life not knowing Michael was her grandson. Bobbie doesn't answer, but believes he had a hand in all this and questions
she's asking him, like, if Carly wouldn't have come clean, would I have spent my whole life not knowing that was my grandson?
Oh. Luke says he was going to tell her if Carly didn't come back within a month. She tells him now that there is nothing he can do that will make a difference, and the day will come when they are all sitting around a table and he will think they are past this, that they're all right now, but she won't be ever. Luke replays his messages, and here's one from Virginia. Guys, this is back when we had answering machines. It was a little cassette tape. In the middle of this, Amy calls looking for Bobbie. She tells him that Virginia has died. Monica tells Bobbie about Virginia and suggests that she go home and get some rest. Bobbie sees Tony, and by him looking at her, answers her question. Will they ever be able to look at each other in the face again? She says, what's a little incest among family? And that right there explains soap operas.
Right, exactly. And the Virginia dying, that happened like they were at the grill still arguing, and Tony kept interjecting more and more about how this wasn't his fault. Carly was so horrible, whatever. And Virginia says that, Carly's awful and Tony's awful, but that Bobbie, she knows to be a truthful, honest woman who was just trying to do the best for her child. And whenever she goes to walk out, she collapses to the ground. And so they take her to the hospital, and they are trying to take care of her, but she ends up with an aneurysm that kills her.
Oh.
Yeah.
So then Bobbie arrived at the penthouse while Carly was upstairs. Bobbie yells at Jason because he didn't tell her that Michael was her grandson. Bobbie also tells Jason she will have nothing to do with him, Carly, or Michael anymore. Jason asks her why she came to the penthouse then, and Bobbie tells him it is to resign as a nurse for Michael. She gives Jason everything she had concerning Michael, records and formula, as Carly walks downstairs with Michael. Carly asks what she is doing there, and Bobbie tells her that she is washing her hands of Carly. Carly tells Bobbie that Virginia is dead, and instead of being upset, Bobbie tells Carly she should feel bad for lying about Virginia dying before. Bobbie accuses Carly of shredding crocodile tears for Virginia and tells her that she treated Virginia poorly. Bobbie then gives her congratulations because Virginia has done what no one else has been able to do for the past 2 years. Virginia's death has proved Carly honest. Jason takes the baby from Carly, and Carly starts to yell at Bobbie. After they voice their opinions, they both agree neither one wants to have anything to do with the other.
So much drama.
Oh, so much.
And then we get to the sad part that we talked about in excess with Lucky and Liz. Lucky's walking through the park when he sees Liz crawling out from the bushes, beaten and bruised. He wants her to go get checked out at General Hospital, but she refuses. Liz agrees to let Bobbie check her out. Bobbie tells Liz her bruises will get a little worse before they get better. She explains some of the feelings Liz might feel and what she should do about them. Bobbie gives Liz the morning after pill and explains that she could get in trouble for that. And Bobbie promises not to tell Audrey about treating Liz. And that, like we talked about this before, that's whenever Liz was just like freaking out. Audrey could not know. She didn't want anyone to know.
Yep.
Then later, while working, a nurse comes up with a prescription for Michael, and it gets Bobbie to start thinking about her relationship with Carly. Moments later, Luke walks in and asks how Liz is doing. Bobbie calls him a hypocrite because he is acting concerned when he himself is a rapist. Luke calls her crazy. He's not telling Lucky about his and Laura's past. And this came from the fact that, like we talked about, Lucky is questioning what kind of man could do this to a woman. How does he help Liz? He doesn't know how to be there for her. And it's just bringing up all these emotions around the past that he doesn't even know existed between Luke and Bobbie. Laura's not there yet. Laura doesn't know anything about it yet. This is when Laura was away still.
Oh, no, I thought you were just saying like about the history of Luke.
And no. I mean, between them, like Bobbie's already mad because of the Carly stuff. And then this added on top of it, she's like doubling down with you're a jerk. Bobbie and Liz continue to bond as Liz opens up more and more about her feelings dealing with the rape. Bobbie urges her to get an HIV test, but she refuses. The next day, Bobbie sees Liz working at Ruby's and they sit and talk. Liz says she told Audrey about the rape and Audrey wants her to forget it ever happened. Liz also says she doesn't want an HIV test because she'd rather not know. After some more conversation, Liz finally agrees to go to Mercy to have the test done, and Bobbie says she will go with her. And the next day, Bobbie goes to Luke's club to find Lucky, because again, she's trying to loop him into all the stuff with Liz. She finds Luke instead and tells him that it would be better to lose Lucky over the truth than to lose him over another secret. And again, that's the rape stuff. And then in March, Bobbie has to tell Lucas that Tony is moving. Tony tells Bobbie. Tony tells Bobbie he has to leave to break the destructive cycle he has been in since BJ died. He is moving to San Francisco. And then all of a sudden, Michael's missing. What? Carly was, I don't know if she was in the park. She was somewhere and she left the stroller unattended for a minute. And all of a sudden, Michael was missing.
Okay.
So Bobbie accuses Carly of wanting this to happen. And Jason tells her to keep quiet. Bobbie then changes her tune and offers to help, to which Carly replies that she can go to heck. Carly accuses Tony of taking Michael, and Bobbie tries to calm her down. Tony knows nothing about the baby missing, but offers to postpone his move if Bobbie would like, and Bobbie tells him it has nothing to do with him, so he should go ahead and go. And then Lucky walks into Bobbie's house demanding the truth about his parents, and the other storyline was that Nicholas and Lucky got into it, and Nicholas told Lucky that Luke had killed his dad and that Luke was the one who had raped Laura. Because again, that was part of the whole Spencer-Cassadine feuding, was that the Cassadines had held Laura against her will and raped her, and they were horrible. And so Nicholas threw it back in his face and was like, yeah, bro, you have the wrong information. Yep. Bobbie told him he needs to speak to Luke, and Lucky storms out. Bobbie tries to warn Luke, but can't get a hold of him. Lucky ends up finding Luke, and Luke tells him the truth about Laura's rape. Liz goes to Bobbie to ask how she can help Lucky, and Bobbie tells her just to be there for him. Bobbie's working overtime. I don't understand what this has to do. Like, I don't understand the police line of thought, but I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole either. But Bobbie is working overtime to help the police by fingerprinting all the babies in the nursery. Carly
because he's already a month old at this point.
Right. He's not back in the nursery. So I don't understand.
It's not like he's 2 weeks old and could still pass as a newborn. There is a big difference between.
Right.
Was he premature?
No, he was not premature. I know he had the heart issue, so maybe that had him a little bit smaller, but I still just don't understand that. But whatever, that's how the storyline went. So Carly goes to the hospital to help after hearing about the efforts from Taggart. Carly and Bobbie share a tender moment over the babies. Then Bobbie finds Lucky in the basement of the brownstone. She explains that it was better for Luke to be honest with him now than to have told him when he was too young to understand. Lucky doesn't budge on his opinion of Luke, and Bobbie offers to let Lucky stay at the brownstone. Things between Bobbie and Carly remain strained as Carly feels Bobbie cares more about throwing a birthday party for Tony than Michael being missing, and Bobbie says she needs to keep things normal for Lucas. Lucky ends up leaving the brownstone because Bobbie tells him that he's not allowed to disrespect his father in her home. And that was because they had a huge falling out about all of the stuff around Laura's rape. And whenever Bobbie she didn't try to defend Luke, but whenever she tried to, calm Lucky down, he got nasty with her. And she was like, no, you will not speak to me like that. And so then he said he would go live somewhere else. As Carly is venting to Bobbie about her fears of forgetting things about Michael, Jason calls with the good news that Michael has been found safe. Carly is so overcome with joy, she hugs Bobbie and calls her Mama. They go to the hospital to meet Jason. Once there, they learn, right? I don't know why you'd say Mom, but that's what happened.
She called her Mama?
She called her Mama. She hugged her and called her Mama. They go to the hospital to meet Jason. Once there, they learn Tony had been the kidnapper. Tony tells her that she should understand after everything she did to hold on to Lucas. Bobbie slaps him and says she doesn't believe she was ever married to him, and he can't understand how she could forgive Carly. And he didn't just kidnap Michael. He then kidnapped Robin also. So he had definitely snapped.
And this is when Robin, she had medical needs. I mean, she still has medical needs now, but wasn't there like a medical
She ended up getting pneumonia while she was there. And she wasn't getting enough oxygen. Like, I watched when Jason found her, and he was like, your lips are blue. You're not getting enough oxygen. And she's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I have pneumonia, but Tony's going to go get me some meds. It'll be fine. She was way too understanding, in my opinion, of the circumstances. Like, dude, I know you've gone through some hard things. That does not give you the right to kidnap me and hold me hostage. But
no,
she disagrees with my idea on that. So Bobbie goes to see Luke and asks him to get Tony to sign away his rights to Lucas. This just shows their weird dynamic, though, of Bobbie thinking that Luke is like big brother and can save everything. Because I don't know why Luke would be the one to get Bobbie or to get Tony to do this.
Because he could be intimidating.
Yeah, but still, I just feel like no. Anyway, Tony agrees that he would only see Lucas when Bobbie consents to it. Bobbie's still upset with Luke for not getting Tony to agree to staying away, and then after Lucas expresses concern over his dad kidnapping him, Bobbie goes to Tony again and asks him to terminate his rights. Tony tells her he is an upstanding citizen and he won't be convicted, and he is not signing away his rights. And Lucas was really like struggling with this. Like, he was having fears that he couldn't make the connection. Why would my dad kidnap Michael? And does that mean he's going to kidnap me? So there was several conversations that he was expressing that, which is, I can see where Bobbie was coming from, of why she was trying to keep them away from each other. Bobbie sees Lucky, who mentions Liz is still struggling after the rape. Bobbie suggests she start seeing Gail and admits that she's seen Gail herself, and so Liz agrees to see Gail. At Tony's trial, Bobbie is nervous to testify. She sees Felicia there and asks her to sit with her, but Felicia is there in support of Tony.
Oh my gosh, okay.
See, that's what I said. Like, this year really tested her friendships, because I don't know that I could be friends with you after you were on my ex's side after he kidnapped my grandson.
Not just that, given who Robin is. Her also. I mean, okay, should not have stolen a child also, but like, it's also Robin.
Yep.
What?
Bobbie flips out on Felicia and tells her that if Tony had had a bit longer, he would have taken Lucas too. Bobbie gets upset while testifying, upset that anyone would let him try to use BJ's death as an excuse for his behavior. When she's done, Carly thanks her for her testimony. And his testimony really was just that he's had, not been in the right headspace since BJ's passing, which again, I understand, but that doesn't really give you the right to go kidnap a baby. Robin is also testifying on Tony's behalf, even though he also kidnapped her. Carly and Bobbie end up bonding more since they're on the same side for the trial. They decide to try and slowly build a relationship, including introducing Lucas to Michael. And that got a little complicated because Bobbie's like, hey, we're not going to tell Lucas that I'm your mom. We're just going to let the kids get to know each other. And the first time that they're hanging out, Carly's like, Lucas, it's okay. No one's mad anymore. Because Lucas is confused. You were dating my dad a few weeks ago, and now here I am having a play date with you and your kid. And she's like, it's okay, it's fine, because your mom's my mom too. And Bobbie's like, what are you doing? But they seem to move past that pretty quickly. So then at the sentencing, they sentence him to community service. He has to work at the clinic that was on the docks that was open at that time. So
yeah.
After
Why don't we have TJ there?
Oh, that would have been great. I like that.
Yeah, because he and Molly were trying to...
Right, they're talking about revitalizing the waterfront and all that. It would totally make sense to have the clinic there still. All right, I like
opportunity.
That. It is. So after the sentencing, Carly gets a hold of Taggart's gun and shoots Tony. Bobbie and Monica were able to save his life, and Carly thanks Bobbie for keeping her from a murder charge. Carly told Bobbie she now understands how she must have felt giving up her baby and being away from her. Bobbie reassures her Michael will be well taken care of until she can come home. Bobbie made the mistake of believing Monica was on their side, but the Quartermaines were able to take temporary custody of Michael since Jason was gone. And Bobbie told Monica that she would be fighting to keep Carly's rights intact, which again, I feel bad for that relationship fighting over him.
Yeah.
And then we're into May. Liz confides in Bobbie that she can't imagine sex being an enjoyable experience. Bobbie tells her about her time as a hooker. As they're talking, Lucky comes in and tells Bobbie that Helena slapped him before he quit working for her. Bobbie goes to Luke's and sees Helena there, where she punches her in the mouth and knocks her out flat and tells her that she should never mess with any of the Spencers again. Helena swears revenge, and Luke says it better happen before next Friday because that's when it's lights out for Helena. I did not dig further into that, but Helena had something to do with the fact that Tony was given such a late sentence. She was working behind the scenes.
Pay off the judge or something like that.
I'm not sure who, what her connection was, but she made Alexis find whatever information was needed so that it would make it so he got the later sentence. She was blackmailing Alexis with something at that time. But again, I tried to stay away from that storyline.
Had Alexis been Dobson yet?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good storyline, but I have not gone there yet. Don't go there yet. So then Tony's working his court-assigned community service and sees Bobbie. He asks to see Lucas, and she refuses. Tony goes to Luke and offers to spy on Helena if he will get him a visit with Lucas. Luke takes Lucas to visit Tony without Bobbie's knowledge, and Bobbie ends up filing a restraining order against him to keep him from Lucas. And then we're at the nurses' ball, and so we meet Jerry at one point in time, and he's kind of flirty with everybody, so you're not sure what his intentions actually are, but he hones in on Bobbie. And then Tony walks up to their table and says that Bobbie doesn't wait too long to move on, which I think is ridiculous because he had what he thought was a whole out baby with somebody else, but okay.
And they're not married anymore. He had an affair.
Right. He ended their marriage. Yeah. Jerry stands up to escort Tony out, and Tony tells Jerry, when you grow tired of her, try the daughter because there's talent that runs in this family. And Jerry decks him. And the following day, Jerry asks Bobbie to dinner, and she says that she'll consider a date with him. She's very torn.
This is Jerry Jacks.
Jerry Jacks.
Jerry Jacks.
And it's a reoccurring sequence in this year and next. She's very torn for her feelings for Jerry because she knows he's not great, but at the same time, he's very, very nice to her.
I mean, yeah.
We all like that bad boy. So Bobbie's angry with Tony and wants him arrested again because he puts Lucas at risk again when he has Lucas come outside to see him without his babysitter or permission. He takes him on a walk, and then Tony sees Felicia and has Lucas hide next to a warehouse. Lucas runs into the warehouse to get a baseball that rolled into it. As he's inside the warehouse, it catches on fire. And Jerry happens to be there, which there's all kind of suspicion around, did Jerry set it or whatever, but I didn't go into that mob storyline. And he saves Lucas. Bobbie invites Jerry to dinner to repay him for saving Lucas, and Bobbie is granted a permanent restraining order against Tony.
Wow.
Yes. And then Carly is moved. Originally, she was at Shady Brook or one of those mental facilities because of shooting him. And she did absolutely have a mental breakdown. If you saw the look on her face whenever she shot him, she was out of it. And then she instantly starts talking about she needs to go home because she promised Michael that she'd put him down for his nap. She's not making the connection there. So after she does her time there, she's being moved to the maximum security institution and won't be able to have any visitors for the first 2 months. But Bobbie is glad to hear that she was faking the breakdown after that. When they went to assess her further, she was acting a little crazier than she was. And then she took comfort in knowing that Robin was still going to help Jason. Bobbie, not Carly. Carly had no comfort in Robin being around.
So then in July, so that was all, well, yeah, so nothing really happened in June then, I guess. Tony is watching from the bushes as Bobbie and Lucas are having a picnic with Jason and Michael. He approaches her and asks for their family to get back together. She tells him that he is only remembering the good times and they won't be getting back together.
How do you even ask that, dude?
Okay, so I'm sorry that I slept with your daughter, and I'm sorry that I kidnapped our son, or your grandson.
And one conversation of him bringing up the good times, she whenever she says you're only thinking of the good times, she says it's like you're looking at a photo album, you're only flipping through the good pages. What is wrong with you? But to think that he's just going to walk up to her at the park and be like, hey, let's get back together, and she's going to be like, sure, you can move in tomorrow.
Right. Crazy. So then in August, Jerry has continued to pursue Bobbie. Bobbie comes outside looking for Lucas and is awed by the scene on her patio. There are candles and flowers everywhere. Lucas greets her in a tux. Jerry, I know you're here somewhere, she calls out. Jerry approaches her from behind with a pink rose. Opening her presents, Lucas gives her a handmade thing that Bobbie mistakes for an ashtray. Lucas wants to know what an ashtray is. Aw, this is that beautiful transition in time where in the 70s, 5-year-olds were walking to the corner store to get cigarettes and booze for their parents. And by the 90s, kids don't even know what an ashtray is.
That's why I left it in, I thought it was so cute that he's like, what?
And when the kids were buying the cigarettes and booze, they had a note from their parent.
Yeah.
Vouching for them.
Mm-hmm.
So Bobbie corrects herself and calls it a dish. After explaining to Lucas that an ashtray is what Uncle Luke puts his cigars in, a confused Lucas replies that she doesn't smoke cigars. Jerry gives her a beautiful diamond pendant on a chain and tells her how she makes him feel like no one else has. She questions if that is a line he uses, and he tells her he will be patient until she sees how he feels.
And this is kind of where you start to want to fall in love with Jerry yourself because, again, he's a bad guy, but he is super sweet with Lucas. He even made a deal with Lucas to get him to go to bed at a decent hour. And she's like, how'd you get my kid to go to bed? He never listens. And he's like, oh, when I want something, I can be very persuasive. We worked out a deal. And Lucas is really starting to take to him the more time that they're spending together.
This is when I don't feel like we notice the age difference between Lucas and Michael anymore.
Right.
Which I guess is fair because, this would have been the same thing as me and Erica when I was a newborn. Obviously, I was not having the same kind of conversations I'm having with her now.
True.
It's just funny, the perception is, how would she have known when I was a newbie and she was 4 that we were going to be this close? Same thing with Lucas and Michael. Although I feel like we don't really see them being as close as you would think that they would be, considering how close in age they are, and they did grow up together.
I think that's because of Wiley. I don't think that Lucas can stand to be around Wiley.
But even before that,
I don't know.
Like even when they were teenagers, we didn't see them hanging out together.
Mm-mm.
Oh, well. So Bobbie is talking with Liz again. Liz shares how she can never imagine being in love. Bobbie asks if things have changed between her and Lucky, but Liz insists that no matter how great a guy is, she could never be in a relationship. And then Bobbie believes Jerry had nothing to do with the car explosion. What car explosion?
It was like a random car bomb that was placed, but it threw back Jason and Robin.
Oh, but still tells him she thinks they need a break. She's afraid Lucas is getting too attached and she doesn't want him to get hurt. Jerry says he will wait for her again. And then Bobbie encourages Audrey to attend Liz's therapy sessions. Bobbie and Monica are concerned about when Carly gets out. The idea of Jason, Robin, and Michael, along with Carly, living in the same house is an accident waiting to happen. And for those who don't know, this is when Robin and Jason were in a romantic relationship. They weren't just friends.
I don't know why
she had that really cute pixie cut, right?
She did have the really cute pixie cut. But I don't know why anyone would have thought that it was a good idea that she was going to come home and live with them. Like, I don't know. That was their plan. I know they didn't have a release date yet, but for months, that's what they just kept talking about. And that is why Bobbie kept bringing it up, because she was like, that's not going to work. Carly wants a relationship with Jason. She cannot live in the same house with him and his girlfriend.
Bobbie has some girl talk with Felicia about Jerry, because apparently they patched things up after Felicia sided with Tony.
Right.
Felicia tells her to go for it and enjoy every moment because she deserves to be spoiled. A few days later, Jerry and Bobbie take advantage of Lucas being at a sleepover and share a night of passion. The next day, they agree to keep their night together a secret. Later, Jerry surprises her by moving into the brownstone because that's the best way to keep that a secret.
Hey, next sentence.
He promises to be discreet with their personal relationship. Listen, just going to put a sock on the door, and you know what that means. The kid's not going to know it all. Jerry is arrested in front of Bobbie and Lucas. Tony uses this to consent the restraining order and try to get visits with Lucas. Bobbie goes to visit Jerry in jail and asks what she should tell Lucas about all of this. He asks her why she doesn't just tell him the truth. That's a crazy, crazy idea. Jerry was arrested for breaking the law. Bobbie tells Felicia she feels sympathetic towards Jerry, and Felicia tells her there is no right way to love someone, so she should just make decisions as they come. Into October, Bobbie continues to have concerns over Carly finding out Jason and Michael moved into a new house with Robin. Jason refuses to discuss anything until Carly is out. Although I do feel like if you are going to drop a bomb like that on someone with mental health needs, doing it while they're in a mental health care facility is probably the better option.
Yep.
Robin reminds Bobbie that Jason doesn't deal in hypotheticals. Bobbie continues missing Jerry and is now concerned about what the stress could be doing to Lucas's health. Lucas isn't eating, and that's concerning since he is diabetic. Tony continues to try and use this to remove the court order. Things worsen when Lucas ends up at the hospital after being found passed out in the backyard. Tony visited him at the hospital and told Bobbie he wouldn't be losing another child. Bobbie scolded him for doing this, especially on BJ's birthday. Okay, I would be Tony. I would 100% be Tony, especially on BJ's birthday. Heck yeah. And he told her that she should be thanking him for saving Lucas while she was out doing God knows what.
So Lucas did have a babysitter, and Maxie and them were there, but Tony was just like straight up stalking Lucas anytime that he possibly could. So he was watching from the bushes again whenever Lucas passed out, and he's the one that went over and started emergency care.
As Tony was leaving, Jerry showed up asking about Lucas. Tony took all this information to Justice. Oh, Justice. And told him he wanted to declare war. Justice liked Jason, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Justice advised him that he needed to find people to rebuild his reputation instead of tearing down Bobbie's.
The best part about this is that Tony sees Jerry go in and visit with Lucas, and he peeks around the corner of the hospital, and he has a disposable camera that he's snapping pictures with, and that's the evidence that he takes to Justice is these pictures. And I'm like, who just carried disposable cameras around with them all the time?
You didn't do that in the 90s?
No.
I always had one.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay. Well,
I had one in my car, or I would have one in my purse. Like, I wouldn't bring it into school, but yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Gotta be ready to make those memories, Manda.
Nope. But all right.
Jason lets Bobbie know that Carly will be released this Friday. He tells her that they have decided that Carly will buy a house near his with Robin, and they will share custody of Michael. Bobbie goes to the Quartermaines to let Monica know Carly is being released soon. She requests them to stay away for a while until Carly gets adjusted to life outside of prison again. As if Bobbie didn't have enough. Oh, she was in prison, she was in prison for, not mental health facility, but still.
Right. She had the mental health first and then went to the prison.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you're going to tell someone bad news, do it when they can focus on only that for 24 hours with getting help.
Yes.
I guess 24/7, not just 24 hours, because that's not how that works.
You have a day. Get better.
Yeah. I would not be as entertaining if that was true. As if Bobbie didn't have enough conflict, she also decided to go after Laura for not being with Luke. Laura says things never change. In Bobbie's eyes, Luke is always right and Laura is always wrong. Bobbie says she knows that Luke has faults, but everything he's ever done has been for Laura. In December, Bobbie is still entertaining her feelings for Jerry as he sets up a romantic dinner for them on the pier. Which pier?
I didn't say. I'm sorry. And I didn't have a marking. I know.
Tony comes along and says that he had to stop to make sure Jerry wasn't causing another fire in a warehouse and warns Bobbie a new court date might be scheduled soon. Bobbie is working at the hospital tending to Mac after he had been shot by a random bullet. Luke stops by the brownstone and finds Jerry there with Lucas. He tells Jerry he should be honest and tell Bobbie that he is working for her ex-husband. He was working for Stefan. That's right.
Yes, it is.
He warns that if Jerry doesn't tell her, and Jerry will lose Bobbie for good. As
and
Bobbie looks...
Sorry, okay. The stray bullet that hit Mac is supposedly part of all this money laundering and stuff that Jerry's involved in along with the Cassadines. And so that's why it's like all coming to a head now with Luke that he's like, hey, all this stuff's coming. You better hurry up and get ahead of it. And Jerry obviously doesn't want to risk losing Bobbie.
And then as Bobbie looks at Christmas trees, she scolds Jerry for buying too much. He says he can't help it, but he loves to spoil those he loves. He admits who he has been working for and tells her that he exposed Luke for causing Catherine's death. He then gives her a gift. Because that's right. That's what you do right after you say, hey, by the way, your brother.
Don't be mad. They did have a nice conversation because she kind of said, like, are you setting Luke up? And he was like, no. I explained that Luke loosened the bolts on the parapet railing, I guess they had then. But that he wasn't intending for Catherine to fall. He was intending for someone else to fall. So it was okay.
Right. He then gives her a gift, and she is concerned it will be too much as she sees it. It's a jewelry box. She opens it to find a piece of licorice.
Yes. So one of the stories that they bonded over that it didn't mention in this, like in as much detail, was that she had told him stories of her and Luke going down to the store and stealing licorice, and that the one time they got caught and the officer could obviously tell that they had stole licorice because like their tongue was the color of the licorice, but he let them go. And then Jerry told her like a similar story of him and Jax whenever they were younger. So this was like a bonding. Aw, I listened to you.
Aw, you stole licorice? Me too.
Right? We're the same. Let's be in love.
Later at the hospital, as the Christmas story is being read by Alan, Luke motions Bobbie outside. He tells her he is leaving and wishes her Merry Christmas, and then he leaves.
And that's where I ended it, because the new year is the new year. So, but it was sad. They showed Luke. I did watch it. Oh, this was the first Christmas that Lucky and Liz said they loved each other. And it was really cute, like watching, at the end of Christmas, they like show everyone. And so it showed them saying that they loved each other, and then later them exchanging presents with Emily and Nicholas. And I was like, oh. But then it also showed Luke on the pier, like taking one last look out at Spoon Island and around, and then he walks off into the distance. So.
Aww.
Yes, and I know this is about Bobbie, not Carly, but it was also cute because Carly wanted to go to the reading of the Christmas story, and she's like trying to make it all about Michael. And Jason's like, I know that the reason you want to go is to show off your new fur coat, so come on, let's go. And they end up at the Christmas reading also.
Aw.
And she says, bringing taking Michael to hear the Christmas story would be the best present we could give to Bobbie. And she's done so much for us. She's babysat anytime that we asked, and she'll do anything. And Michael says, or we could just give her, or not Michael, Jason says, or we could just give her money because that's a good present. She's like, no, she'd rather see her grandson than have some money.
Yeah. So I have a feeling. Yeah.
Yes. So,
but Jason doesn't get that yet.
He does not. But I thought it was nice. Like, it was kind of a nice ending. We started the year off with Carly and Bobbie hating each other, and now they're ending the year with Carly saying how much Bobbie's done for them and how much she loves Michael. So that was sweet.
Aw. So yeah, I guess next week we will jump into 1999.
More drama with Jerry. I can't wait for all that.
Oh, yes.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to pier54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Pier 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at pier54podcast@gmail.com.